Calling the 1 p.m. calendar for Health and Human Services Committee. This meeting will include the deferred decision-making agenda for SB 760 related to psychologists and the 1 p.m. Health and Human Services agenda. Present with me is my Vice Chair, Senator Aquino, Senator Shimobukuro, and Senator Awa. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 1 p.m. Friday, February 2nd, conference room 225 and via video conference. Your audio will be muted and video disabled until shortly before it's your turn to testify. Each testifier will have 1 minute to testify. If there is a technical glitch during your time to testify, we may have to move on to the next person due to time constraints. I will be reading a list of individuals who submitted written testimony for each measure. We apologize if the closed captioning does not accurately transcribe the names. If you're interested in reviewing the written testimony, please go to the legislator's website. You will find a link on the status page for the measure. We appreciate your understanding and remind you that the committee does have your written testimony. I reviewed them, so I encourage you to use your time to either add additional comments or you can stand on your written testimony. And as the folks who have been here in the first hearing, we have a hard stop at 2:30, so we don't get to the decision making if you do not allot for your time wisely, okay? So thank you very much. First up, we are going to, since we have quorum, we are going to go directly to the decision making for SB 760. Chair's recommendation is to pass this with amendments. What happened to my notes? I'm sorry.
Here.
No, it's huge. Sorry, I got it. I want to put in my comments. That's in here. Okay, I want to, the issue of prescribing psychologists have been around since at least 2013, when I first got into the legislature. I did not arrive here in 2025. As a practicing attorney, I've accepted court-appointed cases and was at times been appointed guardian for those who are mentally ill. And so I'm keenly aware of the shortages, especially on the Big Island when psychiatrists would refuse to accept hospital privileges. And those of you who are physicians know what that means. Usually physicians want hospital privileges so that they'll be able to have their patients go to the hospital. So when they refuse, it's because they do not want to accept MH1, the emergency ones. And so we were really in dire straits way back in 2013 and earlier. So I've always been in favor of some kind of increasing psychiatric or prescribing psychiatric type settings. And probably because in urban settings like Honolulu, medical clinics are now increasingly having difficulty recruiting or hiring psychiatrists in collaborative settings who will accept Medicaid. And I just heard a huge clinic here has, even in a collaborative setting, could not even find a psychiatrist to accept Medicaid. And those of you who know what Medicaid means, it usually means our homeless population, those who are Alice families. Those are the ones that the psychiatrists are now saying that they are no longer willing to accept. So NCSL has provided me with a report showing 6 other states, including the Department of Defense, U.S. Public Health Service, and the Indian Health Services has passed prescriptive authority to appropriately train psychologists, with New Mexico being the longest way back in 2002, and even allowing them to prescribe psychotropic medications. However, we've been trying to pass this bill, something similar, for over 10 years now. The chair is not recommending that we go as far as New Mexico. In fact, chair's recommendation is to pass this with substantial amendments, basically accepting the State Department of Health's recommendations. And I know for the proponents of this bill, by accepting the Department of Health's recommendation, it's basically saying that despite psychologists having to go to the extensive training it's basically only allowing them to prescribe aspirin or slightly stronger than aspirin. But I am imploring those proponents to really give this a shot, because otherwise it is a step, I believe, in the right direction to open up an increasingly difficult mental health capacity problem here in the state of Hawaii. So we're going to pass with the following amendments. We're going to basically accept the State Department of Health's recommendation. On page 16, line 9, we're going to insert after shall not prescribe the phrase to the following. 1, all minors or persons under the age of 18 years. 2, all adults with serious illnesses, which includes all adults not suffering from anxiety or depression. And 3, all persons who does not have a primary care provider who is a physician, psychiatrist, or APRN RX, which is a prescribing APRN, or is a patient in a clinic with a collaborative practice setting that has a physician, psychiatrist, or APRN RX. We're also going to add between sections A and B on page 16 a section saying a prescribing psychologist shall not prescribe or administer medications that for use by a patient that is not on the label as a prescribed use by the manufacturer or is otherwise not approved by the US FDA, i.e. we're not going to allow for off-label use. We're also going to renumber or re-alphabetize the subparagraphs. On page 17, line 2, we're also going to add which shall include, but is not limited to, a formulary with high safety profiles, which includes some serotonin reuptake inhibitors and serotonin non-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, and all prescription medications with a box warning issued by the US FDA pursuant to 21 CFR section 201.5. We're going to insert on page 28, line 18, after the Board of Psychology, in collaboration, the phrase, in collaboration with the appropriate department of the John A. Burns School of Medicine. We're going to amend every reference to 2025 on page 29 to 2028, and every reference to 2023, we're going to amend it to 2024. And otherwise, we're going to delete from page 29, lines 13 to the end. Because the changes are substantial, we're also going to add a defective date of December 31, 2050. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, recommendation of the chair is to pass Senate Bill 760 with amendments. Chair.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Keokolole.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Sarah Awa.
No.
Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to proceed on to the 1 p.m. calendar. So first up, for SB 2289, we have relating to Kalaupapa. We have the Department of Health providing comments. Okay, next up we have the Gray Vanderbilt testifying for Ka'ohana Kalaupapa providing comments on Zoom. Are you there, the Gray? No? Okay, next we have Valerie Monson testifying for Ka'ohana Kalaupapa providing comments. Oh, I see the Gray there. Okay, Mr. Vanderbilt, you have 1 minute. Please proceed.
Transition.
Okay, please proceed.
I explained in my testimony about this whole transition team that has been working since 2015 and is supposed to include non-government and government agencies, and it hasn't. And and at one point in a recent meeting, NPS said we are not legally able to open the transition team to non-government stakeholders. but when we can, we will. And she provided no legal statute supporting her statement. So all the government agencies, they have new leaders and everything else. All the topside Native Hawaiian organizations and Kalapapa Native Hawaiian organizations have institutional knowledge from way back, and they need to be on this transitional team.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Vanderbilt. Your time is up. We have Ms. Monson, who's also with your group. Please proceed. You have 1 minute, and we have your written testimony.
Aloha, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity. And I mean, I share the same concerns as Dee Gray. I think the annual report of DOH, I think they've been doing a good job this past year, and they just hired some really good people. But we're concerned about the language regarding this transition of Kalaupapa. We feel the public needs to be included. In particular, Ka'ohana o Kalaupapa, which has a lot of descendants and family members. When we organized the Ohana in 2003, the residents specifically wanted our organization to make sure that their wishes for the future were carried on even after they passed. And we also feel the topside community needs to be included and the beneficiaries. So that's my concern right now. And you saw it spelled out in my testimony. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2289? Okay, seeing none. Members, any questions? I do. Lauren Kim, for Department of Health, or who else? Dr. Felton. Dr. Felton, come on in. Okay, so Dr. Felton, SB 2289. Okay, you heard from Ka'ohana Kalaupapa that they feel they're being disenfranchised from the transition. This bill basically requires requires a report regarding the transition. So have you engaged with Ka'ohana Kalaupapa or members of the topside community of Molokai?
Sure. Diana Felton, Hawaii Department of Health, Communicable Disease and Public Health Nursing Division Chief, and this is Baron Chan, our Hansen's Disease Branch. We have been meeting with other government agencies for many years discussing the potential future of Kalaupapa, and we do already include that in our regular annual report that we submit every year. We have worked extensively in other areas with Ka'ohana and other stakeholders and community members from Topside. So far, we have not felt that the transition planning is advanced enough to even provide what's the best way to say it, even a proposal for public comment. Certainly, there has been work by DHHL to engage the DHHL beneficiaries since the land is owned by DHHL, and that will be an important part of the future of Kalaupapa. So this is definitely part of the ongoing plan, but this transition plan is very complex and very long-term, and we definitely appreciate Ka'ohana and all the work that they have done and what they represent, and they will definitely be a part of this planning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so my concern, well, not my concern, my understanding of the introducer's concern is that when WAM visited Kalaupapa, there was no actual transition plan, and that's the genesis of this report, was that so it was to make you folks come up with a report that has this transitional plan that shows community engagement. And I see you folks nodding your head, but I also noticed that in your testimony, you're not supportive, but just providing comments. So why can't we get a report that has a transitional plan that requires the community engagement?
So, well, speaking to the specific bill, it's about adding language to the reporting, which we already do. And we're in support of that, but we also had concerns about the language about specifically naming entities that would take over Kalaupapa, because that hasn't been finalized yet.
Well, that's basically the problem, right? we are at the stage where there is going to be a requirement of the transfer. I mean, I hate to say
Yes.
it, but the last patient
So
is not. will
So
probably
to give
not
you some
list.
background, there has been transition meetings with National Park Service, I know for at least 23 years, but it goes even prior to that, because the cooperative agreement between the national parks and the Department of Health is to move everything towards National Park Service as far as responsibility for infrastructure, facilities, utilities. So that's been ongoing. In 2018, the prior administration felt it was a priority to start engaging other state government agencies, and eventually Maui County and the Department of Interior got involved. So in 2018, the group expanded, but the group realized really quickly that what we're focusing on is infrastructure and utilities, because there's a lot of questions about those and who's going to maintain it. So that doesn't answer the questions about jurisdiction and governance as
Okay.
you're looking for. So we have the department, the previous administration did meet with the previous mayor of Maui.
Okay.
So we are working on it.
And I think we
Okay, so
understand.
you do not oppose the bill, and you do not oppose my adding in basically a section that requires such report should include efforts regarding engagement with Ka'ohana, Kalaupapa,
And we actually are currently
in the Molokai community.
Yeah, we're including the transition meeting information into the annual report already. So we do not oppose that, no.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, members? Okay, moving on. Next up, we have SB 2245 relating to Child Protective Act. DHS police officers adds a definition of exigent circumstances and amends the definition of imminent harm. Okay, first up, we have Department of Attorney General providing comments.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. I'm Deputy Attorney General Erin Torres. The department appreciates the intent of this bill and recommends minor amendments. First, sections 2 and 3 of the bill should be amended to provide for cases in which the family consents to the removal of a child from the family home. And then second, section 4 of the bill should be amended to clarify that orders for protective custody must be issued by the court in written rather than oral form.
Okay.
Our written testimony contains specific suggestions for possible amended language. Thank you, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Department of Human Services providing comments. Okay, Daisy Hartfield.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I am Daisy Hartsfield, Social Services Division Administrator for the department. The department did submit testimony in providing comments as well as suggestions. I do have one correction to make. The proposed similar amendments to the executive measure is not Senate Bill 3114, it is Senate Bill 3117. Otherwise, I stand by the written testimony submitted and am available for any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Brian Costa, Judiciary, providing comments. Please proceed. You have 1 minute. You need to unmute yourself, or can someone unmute Mr. Costa? Cannot hear him. Or speak loudly. No, we still cannot hear you. Oh, there, you're unmuted.
How about now?
Yes, good. Please,
I
please
apologize.
proceed.
And
Start
good
up the clock again.
And good afternoon, Chair Senator Ventura, Vice Chair Aquino, and members of the committee. The judiciary has submitted written testimony and will stand on that testimony. But I would like to emphasize a few salient points. The judiciary supports the intent of this bill, which in our view is to prevent the unnecessary removal of children from the family home. It's clear that in certain circumstances, it's absolutely necessary to remove children from the home for their safety. However, we must also recognize that that does cause trauma upon these children. This is a sensible bill that provides an efficient and workable approach to address important issues of removing children from the home and protecting their safety, along with the due process rights of the parents. Police officers can remove a child from the home and take the child into protective custody when exigent circumstances exist to protect the child from serious harm that is likely to occur before the order can be obtained. We do support the intent of this bill and just would respectfully indicate that we would ask that an ex parte motion be submitted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Honolulu Police Department in support. Andre Peters, please proceed.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members, Captain Andre Peters of the Honolulu Police Department's Criminal Investigation Division. We stand by our written testimony and be available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Angela Melody Young for CARES and support.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young. Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. In strong support of Senate Bill 2245 on behalf of Kapalama Neighborhood Security Watch, a grassroots of HPD. So what the purview of the state's responsibility is, I think, is to legislate the distinguishing difference of a exigent circumstance versus imminent harm in an enforceable way, because we get trained by police officers, and I'm not trying to, represent the police officers, but I think the police officers has to interpret the situation based on the way you define these terms, right? So if you look at Chapter 587, A-8, protective custody by police officer without court order. A police officer shall assume protective custody of a child without a court order and without the consent of the child's family if, in the discretion of the police officer, the officer determines that the child is subject to imminent harm. Now, you're amending this definition of imminent harm and adding in exigent circumstance. And it's a little confusing because prior to the amendment, imminent harm did not require action. Now is it saying it does require action? Because the next level, right, the extreme and serious harm, it does require action, which is exigent circumstances.
So I think, thank you. Next up, we have Marilyn Yamamoto, Hawaii Coalition for Child Protective Reform. Are you present, Marilyn Yamamoto?
They're not available on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, I see Nonohe Botello though in present. Please proceed for Hawaii Coalition for Child Protective Reform.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. The coalition opposes this bill on its merits and its intentions. We have tried to work with DHS and CPS in terms of the specific language, reasonable cause to believe, because it doesn't satisfy the protections against search and seizure, and under the 4th Amendment, and violates the 14th Amendment to due process. We have submitted bills that do comport with the Constitution, and I just want to say that the Constitution supersedes all policies and it must adhere to the Constitution. I've heard some amendments today that I am happy to hear, but at this point we oppose both on the intention and the unconstitutionality of this bills on the merits. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next we have Shayna Kokila in opposition. Shayna, please proceed. You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair. It's Shauna. Mahalo.
I'm sorry.
Just wanted to say that this bill actually should be deferred because there is an ongoing task force, a working group with Malama Ohana that was created by the legislature and will give a report in 2025. So I think that maybe tinkering with any 587A bills would probably not be a good idea at this time. And also, if you look at the imminent harm and exigent circumstances definition, by definition, the state of Hawaii Department of Human Services would not qualify to have or take custody of children due to their own history of negligence towards the children in their care. Ariel Sellers comes to mind. The tragic cases of injured, abused, missing, and murdered children in Hawaii State foster care system is evidence alone that when a child is taken by force out of their home by the state, they face imminent harm due to various exigent circumstances, such as a lack of services for special needs children and others. They need to fix the system that serves our vulnerable populations.
Thank you very much. Okay, next we have Joshua Franklin, Hawaii Family Advocacy Group in opposition. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2245? Seeing none. Members, any questions? Okay, I have one for the Attorney General. Is the Deputy Attorney General present, please? Okay, so I looked at your comments and I also looked at Department of Human Services comments, which basically wants to change the harm definition, imminent harm definition to the same as child abuse and neglect. And have you had a chance to look at that?
I did look, that was not in our testimony, that was in DHS's testimony. I have looked at that. I don't see a legal or constitutional problem with that.
Okay, really? Okay, and the problem I had when I looked at it was it refers to two different sections, which have two different 587 versus chapter 350. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, okay. We're moving on. SB 2323. First up. Okay, this relating to youth fees and fines. First up, Garcia Foster, Office of the Public Defender, in support.
Aloha, Chair San Buenaventura. From our written testimony, we are in strong support. I'll just summarize that we believe that this measure will help juveniles and their families concentrate their financial resources on accessing other services that the family and the child may need. That includes not just their basic needs, but educational services, counseling services, mental health services, and just surviving in the state of Hawaii for our clients and their families who have limited incomes. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'll be available if you have any follow-up questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Deputy Attorney General Mark Tom providing comments. So you're the AG now.
Yes, Chair. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Deputy Attorney General Mark Tom for the department. Department submits comments on Senate Bill 2323, specifically Section 2. This is the number of enumerated driving offenses. Specifically, the one that's most common is driving without license. And in this, the department would just suggest allowing for an alternative deterrent, just because once an individual comes in, a minor comes in, gets the charge, and is suspended till 18. There's no really other deterrents from driving. Under Chapter 571, there is possibly that judges have discretion to do another sentence, but just for clarification and specificity in the HRS, we suggest that. In terms of reimbursement, would request maybe a blanket provision, just making sure that reimbursement is not used loosely to encompass a restitution for victims of a crime. And last, in Section 25, would just for safety purposes, not allow that the statute be so rigid to not allow for community service work to pay for restitution. The fact that there is an accountability program that's very useful within the judiciary. We will be here for comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next we have the Judiciary State of Hawaii providing comments. Next, we have Public Advocacy Clinic, UC Berkeley Law, in support. I see somebody. Please identify yourself and proceed from Berkeley PAC.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. I'm Ava Kargosha, a public policy graduate student in the Policy Advocacy Clinic at UC Berkeley School of Law. On behalf of the National Debt-Free Justice Campaign, we respectfully ask for your aye vote on Senate Bill 2323. This bill eliminates fines and fees in cases against minors under age 18. Importantly, this bill does not repeal restitution or affect ongoing restitution obligations. National research shows that fines and fees do not support youth rehabilitation, but rather increase the risk that youth reoffend. With the disproportionate representation of Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander youth in the justice system, fines and fees do the most harm to already marginalized communities. We thank the Attorney General's office for his testimony and support adding community service as a consequence for driving without a valid license, clarifying the availability of restitution, and allowing for community service as an alternative to removing graffiti when appropriate. We respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Angela Melody Young for CARES. Okay, limit yourself to 1 minute, please.
Okay, Chair. Angela Melody Young, CARES, or actually no, Kapalama Neighborhood Security Watch. We are a grassroots of the Honolulu Police Department. So we train with various districts across the state, from District 5, District 6 to District 8. Yeah. So in Hawaii, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, Micronesian, Samoan, and Blacks are disproportionately affected by fines and fees in the judicial and correctional system. And there's a lot of research about how behavior can only be corrected with counseling. So this bill is saying that there is no financial penalty anymore, but I do think there should be a strategy to be implemented to correct offensive behavior, such as policies to support counseling as a punishment. From the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention and Office of the Federal Department of Justice declares in its letter earlier this year, it highlights a number of key recommendations and best practices regarding fines and fees, such as the importance of conducting a meaningful ability to pay assessment before imposing adverse consequences for failure to pay, considering alternatives to fines and fees. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Kat Brady testifying for Community Alliance and Prisons in support. Kat. No, I don't see her here. Okay, next we have ACLU, Carrie Ann Shiroda in support. I don't see ACLU here. Okay, Opportunity Youth Action Hawaii in support. Hawaii Friends of Restorative Justice in support. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 23? Seeing none. Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, moving on. SB 2405, regarding relating to campaign finance, allows an election candidate to use campaign funds for childcare and vital household dependent care costs under certain conditions. First up, we have Hawaii Democratic Party Hawaii Women's Caucus in support. Next, we have Louisa Dugan, Vote Mama Foundation in support. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2405? Seeing none, members, no one to ask questions. So next up, SB 238 relating to sexual abuse of minors. First up, we have Attorney General providing comments. Please proceed. You have 1 minute.
Good afternoon, Chair San Buenaventura and members of the committee. My name is Li Ying Kwok, and I represent the Department of the Attorney General with respect to this bill. While our office does not discount the right of survivors of sexual abuse to initiate lawsuits and seek their own justice, we do have concerns with quadrupling the proposed time period contained in the statute of limitations. As reflected in our written testimony, expanding the SOL by decades will compromise the availability as well as the reliability of evidence in these cases. Under these evidentiary constraints, it becomes next to impossible for the state to defend lawsuits of this nature. Thank you for the opportunity to comment.
Okay, next up, we have AAUW, Ann Freed in support. Ann Freed, are you present? Okay, seeing none. Moving on. Lynn Costellas Matsuoka Kapiolani Sex Abuse Treatment Center in support. Lynn, are you present?
Here. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
please proceed.
disabled my camera. At any rate, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee.
So, I'm sorry.
We are
IT, do we have, I don't know if you're allowed to have a disabled camera.
Here I am.
There you go. Okay, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the House of Human
They're not
Services
present.
Committee. I wanted to just make a quick correction on my testimony. It should be 238, not 236. I am going to rest on our written testimony. I would ask that this committee take into consideration not further whittling down the 32-year statute of limitation extension. We do think that it is a reasonable compromise to an unending statute of limitations, which has happened across the nation. With that, I'm available for comment or question.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Hawaii Association for Justice and Support. Ivan Oi, okay, not present. Next, we have, I see Michael Galoyu Jr. on Zoom, but I don't see him having registered. But since you're there, you have 1 minute, Michael.
Good afternoon, Michael Galoyu Jr. on behalf of the Stonewall Caucus. We did submit our written testimony asking for amendments, asking for insertion because we're actually asking for the removal of the statute of limitations for this. Pedophiles should not be allowed to get away with their crimes just because they ran out of the clock. It is E. Jean Carroll would not have been able to see justice in this state under our current state laws. I know E. Jean Carroll wasn't raped as a minor, but that just puts to the point, if you supported E. Jean Carroll, you should support removing the statute of limitations. It's sad that the Attorney General's office does not want to side with the survivors of childhood molestation, but rather side with the predators. We ask that you amend the bill to remove the statute of limitations, side with the survivors, not with the predators, and make this really the Aloha State. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Next, we have Chris Cofield, Democratic Party of Hawaii, in support. Next, same Chris Cofield for Imua Alliance in support. Michael Galoya Sr. for Rainbow Family 808 in support. We have Judith Clark, Hawaii Youth Services Network in support. Jacob Winsett, Hawaii Young Republicans in support. Angelina Mercado, Hawaii State Coalition Against Domestic Violence in support. Next, we have Kayla Kehu Alexander, Aloha United Way in support. Angela Melody Young in support. Thank you very much. Next, we have Kekoa McClellan for Roman Catholic Church in Hawaii providing comments. Ms. McClellan.
They're unavailable on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, anybody else wishing to testify on SB 238? Come on up. Identify yourself. You have 1 minute.
My name is Carolyn Martinez Coloyu. I am an inactive social worker because I aged out. I am a civil rights activist. And while I sent in testimony, and I will send it again, but I can't abide by this when you are going to just extend it a couple of years. This bill needs to completely erase the statutes of limitations. There are other states ahead of you that have already done this. We cannot let all these people, male and female, we've seen the numbers around the states. Every state and countries around the world have this crime happening every day. I only have 8 seconds, but you just can't do it. I'm sick and tired of coming here. I've been coming here since 1995. And when do we get through?
Okay, next up, anybody else wishing to testify on SB 238? Okay, so Shana Wailana Kokila. Okay, please proceed. You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair. I do support the intent of this bill and everything that the coalition and the Women's Legislative Caucus brought forth this year. And I do agree with other testifiers that it is important. But I also, I had to oppose this bill just because in my own opinion, this may be used as an excuse not to do more, that, you know, maybe survivors can just go ahead and sue, and not everybody can do that. So unless there's any kind of funding behind it to help those less fortunate who have been through sex assault as children, especially foster children, how would they ever adjudicate that? So I would like to just reiterate that we need more funding for upfront services, and also for services for those who survived and cannot file a lawsuit. And thank you very much for allowing me to testify. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up. Okay, anybody else wishing to testify on SB 238? Okay, members, any questions? Okay, moving on. SB 2529. Relating to provider orders for life-sustaining treatment form. Okay, first up for SB 2529, we have Department of Health in support.
We'll stand our testimony in support. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, next up, we have Kaiser Permanente in support. Jonathan Ching, are you present? Okay, moving on.
Present, we'll stand on our written testimony in support.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have Angela Melody Young for CARES in support. You have 1 minute.
Angela Melody Young cares. So this provider order is a physician order that provides seriously ill patients more control over end-of-life care. The policy defines the provider's responsibility. Prior to this amendment, the provider has to meet with the ill. Yet because this is a life or death and time is of the essence, sort of thing, this new policy will not require the provider to meet the terminally ill at hospice. However, CARES proposes that it is medically necessary for the doctor to have read the medical records before prescribing a physician's order. The PCP or registered nurse, whoever is prescribing the care, especially in hospice, must have read the prior conditions. So this is unlike an advanced directive, unlike a living will or durable power of attorney, which simply declares the patient's preferences of who is to make decisions. This physician's order has authority of a medical order, and it has more clout than an advanced directive and must be followed in all facilities where the patient is treated. So CARES proposes this amendment.
Thank you.
That the doctor should read the medical records.
Thank you. Next up, Kokua Mao, Jeanette Kojani in support. Next, we have Chad Farmer of Hospice Maui in support. Next, we have Kenneth Zeri, Hospice Hawaii, doing business as Navy and Hawaii in support. Hawaii Association of Health Plans in support. HMSA in support. Navian Hawaii in support. Hawaii Care Choices in support. Lauren Love in support. Please proceed. You have 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Dr. Lauren Love. I'm a hospice physician with Navian Hawaii. I stand on my testimony. I'm present if folks have questions about what the significance is of this change. Basically, it would allow us to be more efficient in making patients have legal POLST forms when patients have made it clear that they would not want resuscitative measures. I think it's important to note that without a signed POLST, EMS is compelled to perform things like CPR on patients, even if their maker is there saying that the patient wouldn't want that intervention. So the timeliness of the POLST is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Love. Next, we have Keith Ridley in support. Daniel Fisher and Dr. Fisher in support. And we have Dara Carlin in opposition. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2529? Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're moving on to SB 2458. First up, relating to community care foster family homes. Okay, nobody having registered to testify. Oh, hold on. We do have testimony, all in opposition. Okay, Executive Office of Aging providing comments. Okay, Department of Health in opposition. Jan Mori, Department of Health in opposition. John McDermott, State Long-Term Care Ombudsman in opposition. Long-Term Care Ombudsman Gerald Aarons in opposition. Anybody willing to testify on SB 2458? Okay, come on up. Identify yourself. Okay, we'll give you more than 1 minute because it takes you a while. And thank you for coming. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and Chair and members of the committee. My name is James Woodley. I stand in my testimony to oppose Senate Bill 2458 because I was placed in a foster home that my primary caregiver was never present, and the substitute caregivers happens to be his parents that was certified in another foster home, which was next door. But my concern would be what happens if something happened to me? What if I needed like oxygen and the substitute caregiver didn't have any training on how to use oxygen? What would it be like? Because they wouldn't have training to use oxygen or any type of machinery. So, like I said, I really do stand on my testimony to oppose because I feel like it's very dangerous.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify in SB 2458? K. Melody Young, you have 1 minute. Okay, please proceed.
Angela Melody Young testifying in strong opposition. So the reasoning is, although I'm not a doctor, I can only compare this to the work that I do have experience in, which is safety. I'm a first responder for Kapalama Neighborhood Security Watch. And if the people at the foster care home, they're not being responsible, then it's like in the House Bill 1773, police officers have to be trained to work with intellectual behavior disabilities, right? So if they're not trained to respond in an appropriate way to work with those with behavioral disabilities and intellectual disabilities, then they have to go through a training. And with the police department, they go through crisis response intervention training, a strategy implemented from the Bureau of Justice Assistance, a branch of the DOJ. So,
thank you very much, Melody. Okay, anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2458? Come on up, Carolyn. Okay. You also have 1 minute.
I need 25.
We don't have
As a
25.
social worker out of child and family disabilities, I went into a home and I smelt something I'd never smelt in a home before. It was in Waipahu in the heat of summer, and it was dog feces.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carolyn. Although I know who you are, please identify yourself.
Okay.
So that those.
My name is Carolyn Martinez Galoyu.
Okay.
I'm with Rainbow Family 808, but my experience is as a working social worker. I was reprimanded by my supervisor that I was not to complain about this house because didn't I know that the Caregivers Association knew people in high places and they could start making it difficult for our unit. I thought that was my job as a social worker. And to still hear this atrocities going on. This was from 2001, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
I'm in
Anybody-
objection to this bill.
Yes, we heard that. SB 2458, anybody else wishing to testify? Members, any questions for any of the witnesses?
I have a question, Chair.
Okay, proceed, Vice Chair Senator Aquino.
Department of Health, please. Okay, thank you very much for being here. We do understand the concerns that have been brought up. Are there any admin bills to address caregiver burnout and respite needs for caregivers?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Vice Chair. My name is Justin Lamb, Department of Health, Office of Healthcare Assurance. Right now, currently, there are none.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else having any questions? Seeing none, moving on. SB 2603. First, relating to early child care. First up, we have Executive Office on Early Learning and Support. Yulko Cross.
Hello, Chairperson Buenaventura, Vice Chair Aquino, and members of the committee. I'm Yuko Arikawa Cross, Director of the Executive Office on Early Learning. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify in support of this measure.
Childcare is an undervalued workforce that provides substantial benefits to children, working families, and the community at large. Although this is a specialized field, childcare workers continue to be plagued with low wages. EOL recognizes increasing compensation as an effective recruitment and retention strategy and appreciates the outcomes this bill would have on the early learning workforce at large. We defer to DHS regarding implementation of the bill. Thank you for the opportunity to
Okay,
testify.
thank you very much. Next, we have Department of Human Services providing comments. Hello. Please identify yourself.
Good afternoon, Chair San Buenaventura, Vice Chair Aquino, and members of the committee. I'm Dana Luca on behalf of the Department of Human Services. We stand on our written testimony in support of the intent of the measure. I do have one correction.
Okay.
Page 2, first paragraph, the grant program provides a staff retention bonus award of $3,500 instead of $3,000.
It's 3,500.
Yes. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have Douglas Adams, County of Hawaii, in support. Next, we have Hawaii Children's Action Network speaks in support. Debbie Zeisman.
Good afternoon. Hawaii Children's Action Network stands for support.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Early Childhood Action Strategy and support. Vivian Ito. Thank you very much. Holomua Collaborative, Joshua Wish in support.
The same line,
Thank you very much. Next, we have Aloha United Way, Kayla Keahu Alexander in support.
Aloha Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for your time. My name is Kayla, and I'm here on behalf of Aloha United Way and members of the ALICE Initiative. We stand by our testimony in support of SB 2603 and strongly support improving the pay of our critical childcare workers. As we all know, early childcare, while costly, is imperative for our local families, so much so that families are willing to hand over entire paychecks each month to cover that cost. Yet in spite of steep tuitions, funds rarely make it to the childcare workers themselves. These workers who day in and day out show up for our keiki so that the rest of us may contribute to the workforce in our own way. These workers are ALICE. They are working professionals who live paycheck to paycheck in spite of full employment, training, and high education, and they deserve a livable wage for the invaluable work that they do. Please support our ALICE households by supporting this measure. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Chamber of Commerce, Hawaii, Eliza Talbot in support. We have Kaiulani Laeaha of Aha Punanaleo in support. We have Dana Vela of Kama'aina Kids in support. We have Alec Marentic of Hawaii Association of School Psychologists in support. Angelina Mercado, Hawaii State Coalition Against Domestic Violence in support. Jean Evans, AAUW in support. Alfred Castle, Samuel and Mary Castle Foundation in support. Dennis Lynn, HPM Building Supply in support. Cherry Nakamura of He'e Coalition in support. Carol Ware of Patch in support. Chamber of Sustainable Commerce in support. Doris Siegel Matsunaga in support. Jean Ota in Hawaii State Democratic Women's Caucus in support. University of Hawaii, Nathan Murata in support. Brandon Kurisu of AO Family of Companies in support. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2603? I see somebody, Leilani Kaiava. I'm sorry,
That's okay. Aloha, my name
Please identify yourself.
is Leilani Kailiava. I am from Hilo, located on Hawaii Island. I'm a mother of 3 sons and struggled with quality care. Here in Hilo, we could use more options because I experienced it myself with my sons. There are not very many options, and a lot of our families and professionals are struggling here financially. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my testimony.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2603? Okay.
Hello, hi, Chair, Vice Chair. Thank you, committee members.
for hearing this bill. We very much appreciate it. My name is Malia Suchia. I am a former child caregiver, family child care provider, teacher, aide, assistant, volunteer, and I am no longer any of those things because it does not provide a livable wage. I have many colleagues who have also left the field. Unfortunately, I know they would be back if it was just a reasonable and viable possibility for us to be back working in the childcare industry, and we just aren't. And I hope and pray. Three of us in my family were teachers. There's only one still standing as a teacher for economic reasons, and I do hope that through this bill we can hopefully recruit at least people into the field, and then we can see where we go from there. And hopefully, and despite ARPA funds running out, that we may be able to just retain those who are possibly able to do so. And thank you again, and that is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next I see Kristen Zuli on Zoom. Please proceed. You have 1 minute.
Aloha, thank you so much, Chair and committee members. My name is Kristen Zuli and I live in Hilo, Hawaii. And I'm in support of SB 2603 as our concerning and disappointing experiences with home-based unlicensed professionals, which I wrote about in my written testimony, led us to search out quality care. And after a lot of difficulty accessing providers because everyone we contacted was full with a waiting list, we finally found a Waldorf school about 45 minutes from our home. And on one income, we were paying $9,500 per child and spending 3 hours in the car just to have 4 hours of time. No parent should have to choose between finding quality care and their mental health or physical health. Thank you for supporting this bill. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Shayna Kokila. In support, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. I didn't sign up, so thank you for hearing my testimony real quick. I am strongly in support of this bill. Mahalo to the Women's Caucus and the coalition. Just wanted to say 2 points. One, we need to continue to support these essential workers who brought us through the pandemic and need to get back to work. And number 2, we need to encourage the legislature to support the state and county departments to add childcare to their list of subsidized employment benefits to increase and bring back the workforce of mothers who may have had to leave because of childcare issues. So thank you so much for my opportunity to speak. Aloha.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to testify on SB 2603? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, do we need to recess for decision making? Okay, if not, let's proceed with decision making. So first up, okay, SB 2289 relating to Kalaupapa. Chair's recommendation is to pass this with amendments. We're going to basically accept Department of Health's recommendation of substituting on Section 2 the phrase "the Department of Hawaiian Homeland or federal government" to the phrase "other governmental entities." We're also going to add in a section requiring such report to include efforts of engagement by Department of Health with community groups such as Ka Ohana Kalaupapa and the Molokai community. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Keokolole.
Aye.
Senator Shimabukuro.
Aye.
Senator Awa.
Aye.
Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, so for SB 2323 relating to youth fees and fines. I'm sorry, wrong one. SB 2245. Okay, relating to Child Protective Act. So I introduced this bill because I thought this was what Nanohe Botole was wanted, but apparently she opposes it. Nonetheless, we're gonna pass it with amendments. We're gonna accept the AG's proposed amendment allowing for child's parents to consent and the judiciary's proposed amendments. At this time, until the Attorney General provides in writing whether or not the quote unquote housekeeping amendment by DHS is valid, because my reading of Chapter 587 and Chapter 350 are different subjects. So to me, it's not interchangeable of harm and child abuse and neglect. But otherwise, with those amendments, questions, any comments, questions, concerns? Basically, AG's amendment. Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair votes aye.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. All members are present. Any reservations? Any no's?
No.
Okay, no vote for Senator Arwa. Okay, recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, so SB 2323 relating to youth fees and fines. I'd like to note that both the Berkeley Law Center as well as I saw the public defender nodding that they are not opposing any restitution. However, I'm not going to go that far. I am going to, Chair's recommendation is to pass this with amendments. We're going to accept AG's proposal of limiting the restitution to that of graffiti by not deleting from page 85, lines 7 to 9, beginning with the word or. That way it allows for the kind of restorative remedy that the judiciary is already doing. But otherwise, and we're going to accept whatever technical amendments that SMA proposes. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, thank you very much. All members are present. Any reservations? Any no's? Recommendation is adopted.
Okay, so for SB 2405, Chair's recommendation is to pass this as is. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair votes aye.
Okay, all members are present. Any reservations? Any no's?
No.
Okay, no vote for Senator Arwa. Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
So for SB 238, Chair is cognizant of the concerns of allowing sexual abuse victims to be monetarily compensated, but it's also cognizant of the potential cost to innocent Alice households with children bearing the cost of increased childcare expenses when insurance providers hike premiums to pay for coverage. In fact, I have asked for advocates to give me studies on whether or not how much the insurance premiums will rise should we pass something like this. So far, I haven't gotten those studies. So Chair's recommendation is to pass this with amendments. The amendments are going to be, we're going to delete section 2 and insert the creation of a working group with the chair of the Women's Legislative Caucus or appointee as the chair. Members shall include the Attorney General's office, an appointee, a Hawaii Association for Justice member, an insurance commissioner, the insurance commissioner or appointee, a member of the Hawaii State Bar Association insurance coverage litigation, and any other member proposed by Senate President and House Speaker. We are going to require the report to include not only the concerns of potential reparations to child sexual abuse victims as stated by testimony, but also any rise in insurance premiums to child care providers, if any. Such report shall be due within 20 days of the 2025 legislative session. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair votes aye.
Okay, all members are present. Any reservations? Any no's? Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, for SB 2529, Chair's recommendation is to pass this with tech amendments. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, all members are present. Any reservations? Any no's? Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, for SB 2458, we really had no testimony in support. So Chair's recommendation is to pass this indefinitely and defer this indefinitely. Moving on, SB 2603, we're deferring 2458 just to make sure. So for SB 2603, I'd like to make a comment that basically I am cognizant of the need to increase childcare providers as well as to keep childcare expenses down, as prior comments have stated. My comment is, I'm going to pass this with proposed amendments, but without a determination of the true cost of the state budget, it is unlikely that this will pass conference. So I am urging advocates to come up with a number to fill in the blanks. So we're going to pass this with amendments. We're going to accept DHS's proposed amendments, including their oral statement of 3,500 versus 3,000. We are going to, no, and any other technical non-substantive amendments as proposed by SMA. Any comments, questions, concerns? Oh, and I've got to put the effective date so it goes into committee conference, and hopefully by conference, advocates can advocate for a true cost of this state budget. Okay, any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
Thank you very much. All members are present. Any reservations, any no's? Recommendation is adopted, Chair.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.